Well, there's some funny things going on with this camera because yesterday I went to edit videos and I couldn't find a bunch of footage. Well, today I've charged the battery up fully and the footage that was lost has suddenly appeared. So what I'm going to do is put it in here as an addendum to the project because it's too late now. I've done a lot of editing on the other stuff, but in a way, looking back on this, it's like, stop, you idiot, don't do it. You can see the disaster unfolding and you can see things going on that. So I'm going to just montage it in straight here as a lost footage found on the project, and you guys can have some fun with this because you'll laugh at my mistakes. I know I'm laughing at my mistakes, but they are mistakes. Some pretty, just blatantly or blindly trying to get to a goal doesn't work. You've got to step back. What I'm doing is ignoring my gut. If your gut's telling you don't do something, step back from it. I'm ignoring it. I need to get this done. Guts tell me don't do it. Doesn't matter. Yeah, it does. Listen to your gut feelings. If your gut feeling says, spray nozzle's jiggered and you've got a really important job with a jiggered spray, don't do it. Don't do it. Just step back from it. Ultimately, it would have cost me less time to step back from it and go, well, the can's buggered, take it back. That would have, and then I would have worked out it's the wrong product. It would have been all over. Thanks for coming. You know what? You got to listen to your gut. No matter what else, you really got to listen to your gut. All right. Yeah, that's the lesson here. I'm going to put captions on what the clips are, and that's as much as I'm going to do. And you guys can follow along, and you'll see how the disaster unfolded. And fixing up the violin case was another bit of footage that I did. I was trying to fix the case. It was a bit of a disaster as well, but we got there. Well, we kind of got there because I ended up tacking the two corners in. And I forgot to pick up the silicone at the hardware, so I'll have to do that tonight. So just to finish off that case, I'll put a quick little video at the end to finish off the case, and that'll be the end of it. The violin, to all intents and purposes, she's hanging there. That's just after the second coat. It needs a really heavy sanding back, so there'll be one more video where I'm going to sand it back and do a final coat. And it's going to be a nice thin with a brand new brush, so a really thin coat. And then those brushes are going in the bin. There's no point keeping them. They're only a few bucks, so just chuck them away. Righto, that's that. I'll talk to you guys, at the end of this. Have another little chat and buckle up. Right, as you can see, there were some important moments in the project that happened in that montage. Learned from it, if nothing else. I can laugh at myself now, but at the time I was under so much stress to get the job done and wasn't thinking. It's not what I do. If it's going wrong, hey, let's step back from it. That's me. That wasn't me that was in that. I don't work that way, and I don't know why I work that way during this. It's not what I do. So anyway, stress, stress. I guess with Mum going, yeah, I'm making excuses. I don't know what it is. I can't blame anyone but myself. Not thinking clearly. Yelled at Mrs. Wall at one stage in the middle of that, and got yelled at first and then yelled back because I don't normally yell at people, but when I'm stressed out and people yell at me, you're going to get it back. You just can't yell at a bloke when he's stressed. It's just not a good thing. So mind your neutral shit. And that's all this is. This is not thinking stuff. This is not thinking the job through and what's going to happen next. Genuinely, there were a couple of solutions in there that I thought might work. It obviously didn't. I've still got one more video to shoot in this project, and it's going to be the final stone coat on that. I've got 240 grit sandpaper to go over that when it dries. It's 5 hours away. I've got to do another run up the hardware anyway, so I'm going to get that done. I've got to buy some silicone, tube of silicone, because I'm going to silicone around the edge of that piece that keeps falling out. So I'm going to hold it in with a bit of silicone around that edge, and that way it won't fall out. So it's a good theory anyway, isn't it? But that's what's going to happen. I'm going to silicone that in right over the top of the fabric. So silicone, that fabric is well and truly glued to the box. Because it's well and truly glued to the box, I'm going to well and truly silicone it to the edge of the thing. And once it's sat in there, that's the end of that. That's all she wrote. There won't be any movement. Rightio, that's it. That's all she wrote. Make good decisions, do good things, keep on swinging, and if you can't, just get up and do it anyway. You know what I'm saying? Good decisions, good things, keep swinging. I'll see you at the next video. Righto guys, well I can't take a trick because despite that the sun is shining over there, we got rain. I got up, I got no choice. I got up, I don't know what's happening with the battery in this camera, but I went to put it in, it said it wasn't charged, so I put it back in the charger and now it's charged. I went out, I was scuffing, giving this a scuff, as you can see, scuffed it up with the 240 grit. It's really smooth, but it's got a layer of dust on it at the moment. So what we got to do is take that off. So what we're using to do it with is not that rag, that was our stone rag. Can't really use that one. Oh yes you can. There's no way that stone's wet. So you just need a microfiber cloth and you wipe it. And you see all of that dust comes off. Well, you can't see because you weren't in shot. But all you've got to do is wipe it with a microfiber cloth. It's been scuffed up and scratched up, but it's with 240 grit. So all those little high spots and things are gone. It's got one layer of varnish on it. Or clear coat I meant to say. I keep calling it varnish. This is actually a clear coat. Actually it's more than just a clear coat. This is a marine grade clear coat. Ultra gloss. Premium toughness, 3-year guarantee. It's a very good product. Clear wood varnish. It is varnish. Well, there you go. What do I know? It is varnish. I thought it was just an acrylic. Well, varnish is an acrylic product. I need to put this camera down. This violin's going to fall off the table. I've got just enough space to work here. My drip tray is actually a takeaway food container. I keep them, and that's a good use of them. The paintbrush is still in good order. So we go again. We're going to have another crack at it. I'm going to mount this camera on the tripod and I'm going to go again with it. Right, so we're going to be set up. This is going to be the second. Look, I'm not going to tempt fate. I'm just going to give it 2 coats of varnish. And that's it. Because, you know, we got rain out there and I think after the second coat this is going to come up a treat. So 2 coats will be enough. And I'm going to call it done. I'm not going to tempt fate. Righto, so let's get into it. Good morning. One day out from D-Day and we got rain. I've got no option, got to sand it. I actually am doing this a bit arse about because you'll see up here it's got its second coat on. I went out, I sanded it, and as you'll see, the second coat's a bit of a disaster. And the problem I've learned, or the thing I've learned, is I was a bit too heavy-handed with the varnish. You know, you got to have a real patient, steady hand. Now my brush is stuffed up halfway through the job. I got congealed in the center of the brush was some congealed varnish that I didn't see when I checked it. So the brush is no good. Now two things I can do. I can either trim that brush back because I was only using the tip of the brush, so I can actually trim it back. And I might just do that. I might just pick a spot and start trimming it back into it. When you trim it, you give it a crown. Give the brush a bit of a crown. So it should be good to go again. But it might be easier if I just go up the hardware and buy myself another brush. And one that's a bit thinner. I don't want it quite that thick. I've actually got another brush inside. I think I'll try it. I've got no option. I can't spray the piece. I haven't got spray cans and compressors and stuff like that. I've got to do it by hand. So I just got to be patient and not go as heavy-handed with the varnish. Now what happened when I sanded that back, I got orange peeling on the first part. So you'll see that on the film. A bit of orange peel going on. Because when it dried in waves. It kind of ran a little bit, just enough so that we had ridges. So when I did a sand, I had this orange peel effect. So hanging it up like that to dry might not be the best idea. I don't know, but that's what I'm doing. It also means I put way too much on. You got to have a real steady hand and a really thin coat. So this might need to come off again. You know, sand back and start again. Which is fine. It can be sanded back again because we're going to go over it in the same stone. It won't matter that we've got to go through the stone, so we don't have to get all the stone off. All we've got to do is get the varnish off, which might be all right. But we'll have a look at the outcome and we'll make a decision. I think it can go as the Christmas present, and I'll ask the mother to, you know, to get it back to me at some point, and I'll do a proper job of staining it and of varnishing it. Now this is actually a French polishing. French polishing is like, if I could do that, you know, put it on with the rag. You put the varnish onto a rag and you polish the varnish in. You actually do it. You know, you have a special rag for it, and it goes and leaves a beautiful smooth finish behind it. French polishing is by far the best way to do something, but it's not a skill that I have, and if I tried to do it, it'd probably look like, you know, the Incredible Hulk smashed it with his fist. She'd probably like that, by the way, if I put the Incredible Hulk's fist or something in the back of the violin. She'd love that, but I'm not doing anything like that. It's got a dragon in it, and that's good enough. Alright, so I'll see you. It took 5 hours for that to dry last night, nearly 5 hours. It was late at night by the time I was able to even touch it, and then I thought, nah, I'll leave it for this morning. But we got rain. Now that might blow away with any luck. There's a bit of a breeze and it might blow away. It's still hot even though it's raining. I'm sitting around a pair of togs, a pair of swimmers and a singlet. Now that's it for me today. Righto, I'm going to leave it at that. You guys have a good Christmas. It's Christmas tomorrow, so this is going to come back in 5 hours. I'll put one more crack at it. I'll give it a sand. I'll have to sand it back fairly heavily to try to get rid of the runs and scalloping and orange peeling effect, and just see if I can make it work. Hopefully I've learned my lesson. Don't put too much on. That brush wasn't any good to use today. It contributed to it. It was my own fault. No one else to blame. So I'll get into it and sand it back as much as I dare when I get it dry. And this final coat is going to be really, really thin. It's just a nice thin layer of varnish right over it. And that's it. That's going to be all she wrote. And when it's completely finished, I'm going to find some polish and see if I can polish it up. So we might be all right to do some polishing and give it a good coat of polish. Rightio, that's it from me. I'll see you in 5 hours. Right, so the beautiful thing about hot weather is you get sit around in your togs and your singlet. Now I've just got to wipe this dust down. This has been sanded and scuffed up. It's got dust all over it, and I'm just using the rag I used to stain it to give it a wipe down. Now I can see some pitting that was going on here, right? Because there were obviously some high spots and low spots. Some, what do they call it, orange peeling. And we've scuffed this up. We've gone over it. You can see here it's got some orange peeling going on. I don't know if you can see it. There it is. I put my initials in the work, so I better bloody make sure it goes. I found a run in here. I've gotten rid of that. Completely sanded out. You don't want any particulate matter at all on the job. If you've got a compressor, you just blow this off with your compressor, but I don't have one on them. Now, there you go. And it's ready for another layer. And turn some light on so people can see. That's really good. Just going to pause this. Right, we're back. I'm going to take the lid off my varnish. It is varnish. I've been calling it varnish. It's just a clear varnish. You know what? I'm not taking that lid off just yet. Don't forget to shake your can. Now put your lid off. You can see there that my little dripper works just as well. Some varnish spill up onto the top of that film. That's probably 6 millimeters of skin that's formed on the top of this can. So that's been sitting on their shelf for a long time. Well, it's been sitting around for a long time. I'm going to use this fine brush which I've just gone and retrieved, which is why I paused that video, to get in underneath this. Because yesterday I didn't have this, and I got a good coverage in there, but it wasn't anywhere near as good as you can get if you can get right in. And I had a little bit of a run in underneath it. I don't like runs, so it took me a little bit of a while to sand that out this morning. There we go, we've got right up underneath it. I'm just going up over our little dragon here. Righto, that's him done. Let's get some real shit happening. We don't want any orange peeling going on when we sand back. We don't want any runs, we don't want any orange peels. Nice even coat. Anything like this, another hair's come out of this brush. In a sec, I need to get that out of the job. I'll lift it out with the little brush. God, I hate it when hairs come out of your brush. There we go. Can't stand that bullshit. I'm just going to go around this edge with the little brush. Pick up any spots that are uneven. See, that's where that run occurred. I found out why I got a run. I'm going to go around this with this little brush. Right through it. That big brush I'm not real happy with. That's where that run was. Going real light, letting that settle. Once I've done the front, of course, there's no varnish on that bit there. Don't want any runs, that's the main thing. It's going to have another coat, look. Down the bottom here. Final strokes are got to be with the grain of your wood. You can apply it any way you like, but make sure you get your final strokes in the same direction as the wood grain, because if you don't, you're going to see your brush strokes. Now there's uneven pieces in here and I'm just going over it. Brushing on the varnish. Nice light strokes is what I'm using, leaving a nice big dab of that clear coat. Depending on how I feel about this, I think this is still going to get another sanding back, because what I'm seeing is my brush strokes. I don't want to be able to see them. That's better. What's going on here? Let's get this done. I don't know what you can see anymore. I'm not worried about what you guys can see. I've just got to get the job done. I don't know. I've signed this thing. My name's on it. For eternity. Violin will outlast me, that's for sure. to the bigger brush. That little brush is good for touch-up work, but it's no good for applying it. You need your bigger brush with your better bristles. Okay, well, I've just noticed some dust in the job. I'm just going to quickly get rid of it. Don't want that in my job. Away we go. Now what you guys can see, but I'm looking at a beautiful golden colour. It's a lovely finish. It's a beautiful stain colour. It's going to have to get sanded back again. I can't leave it like this. It's going to get a coat this afternoon. Now this took nearly 6 hours to dry. Got a run there. Can't have any runs, thanks. A light spot there. Not having any of those either. Not having a little bit none of that. Hey. Light spot there as well. Underneath that one. Gonna have to sand it back again. Just going to get in here with my small brush a little bit. Just here. Dip some varnish. That edge detail done. Starting to dry. It's just starting to dry off in places. Make sure it's got a good coat of varnish here. Got to have a real good coat in this edge. I think that was the mistake that the Chinese made, is they overdid the varnish at the edge, because it starts to dry at the edge first. Well, that's it. That's all she wrote. We've got to go sit these brushes in some metho. That's another coat of varnish done. I'm going to go around the job a bit. I'm inside because outside ain't no good. got that golden, beautiful gold colour. I like that colour. The golden jar. I think I picked a good colour there. And I think she'll be alright. Now, this is what you want to avoid. See that? That's a run. Now I've got to get onto that straight away. I'm going to paint that run through. You can see these are runs. You definitely don't want those in your job. That's how you get scalloping. Orange peel. Whatever you want to call it. So when you hang it up, you get all this. Got some down here as well. Jesus, it's running all over the place. I was a bit too heavy-handed. It's too heavy-handed with it. I have to sand it back again. I'll take that orange. It's going to get orange peel when you sand it. I have to sand it back so until I get a smooth, clean. It's got 2 coats of varnish, so I've got to sand it back. See something here too. Over our little dragon. I was too heavy-handed with it, guys. Really screwed that one. Righto. Time to break out a new brush. See how you got these bloody runs. Don't want any of them. Way too heavy-handed up here. Way too heavy-handed. I'm actually taking varnish off with the tip of this brush. I want to avoid it running. It's not a good day for painting, by the way. It's raining out there. Look at this, I've got runs everywhere here. Too heavy-handed. Looks like crap. Well, that's a disaster. I was too heavy-handed with it. It's a complete disaster again. When I sand that back, I'm going to get orange peel. I don't know what you guys have been looking at. Probably at my back. What I've been doing is I've been using this little brush. You looking at anything at all? It's recording. Sorry about that, guys. I'm not a photographer, as you can see. See this? I'm actually taking all that bloody excess off as much as I can now. I was too heavy-handed with the varnish. Should have gone light. That's what I should have done. Now I've got runs coming up in the work here. Look at this. See that? I'm trying to recover it. My fault this time. This is why I wanted to spray it. You wouldn't have got this if you had a spray product. You wouldn't have got these runs. You probably would have if you were an idiot, but I'm better with spraying than I am with painting. At least everything's in the direction of the grain. So I've got half a chance of recovering it when I sand it. It's going to have to get sanded this afternoon. Just got to let it hang for another 5 hours. I'll give that another. I might have saved some of it, I don't know. I'm taking the varnish off with this little brush. All I can do is leave that hang, dry completely, go over it before I put the third coat on it. I've got to give it a really solid sanding. Hopefully it doesn't give me that orange peel effect, but we'll see how we go. Righto. Well, Merry Christmas everyone. This was after the 2 coats. You can see there's a couple of little lines from the brush, lots of high and low spots in the finished, but you know what, it's varnished. It's got a coat of varnish on it, it's protected, it's Christmas and it's got to get given as a present. So what we're going to do is we're going to call it done. We're going to take this off very carefully. Peel this masking tape back. I'm going to need to use a center or something to get that glue off. Oh shit. Oh, well that's not good. Jesus, I don't want that to happen. That's just a veneer paint. It's only painted on there. I didn't know that. I did not know that. Alright, well we're taking the glue off and we're going to paint that back on with black paint. As it happens, I've got some of that. Another major disaster. Can't take a trick with this. I thought this would just peel off there and that's the end of that. I'm going to be painting black paint on this thing. I mean, come on. I'll just get some touch-up paint and paint it down one side. I've got some. Pretty sure I've got black. I'll have to get it back. I thought that was part of the wood. I thought that was a strip of veneered wood. As stupid was I. There's your black paint. I think the only way to do this is to do it. Unbelievable now. Look at this. Rubbish all over you bloody I thought that was a wood veneer. It's not, it's paint. Oh, the good news is paint can be fixed. But I don't know if I can fix it today. Don't you even think of going near my lacquer. You believe that? That's just black paint. Well, it fooled me. I completely thought that that was another piece of veneered wood over the top, but it's not. Well, it's going in with a couple of battle scars by the look of it, because I haven't got the paint. Don't know where to find any. Not today, it's Christmas Day. Got to take that glue off, clean it up a bit, put the equipment on it. She's going to have a violin. Unbelievable. Well, I got caught out by that one. I do have black paint. I know where I've got it. And to put it on, I'm going to have to mask that off, because the black paint I have is a spray paint. But it's the right sort of black paint. It's matte. I'll have to take this glue off. I'll get some acetone from Mrs. Wiley, and we'll just take that off, and we'll take a bit of paint off with it, and I'll just repaint it. She's got the nail polish remover. Righto. We got a violin. We'll do that little patch on that. Merry Christmas everyone, if I haven't said so. It's Christmas morning. Breakfast is happening over there, so we're going to do breakfast. We're going to repair this disaster here, and we're going to get on with it. Cheers. Well, good morning everyone. It's after Christmas. I've got to tell you, I got stuck into some bourbon at Christmas. Some Jim Beam. You might be able to tell that I haven't really gotten past Christmas yet. But I wanted to wrap up what happened with the violin. So you'll notice that it's not hanging up here anymore. We got it delivered. Young Talia, she was wrapped, but I got to the point where I decided that 2 coats of varnish was going to be it, because that second coat of varnish wasn't 100% ready for sanding, and it looked decent enough. So the instrument finished up really not where I wanted it to be, but good enough for what it was going to be. And one day I'll get that back off them, and I'll sand it back again, and I'll fix that varnish up, because the final job had a few runs in it, which were on the back, but on the front it looked all right. So the bit you see looked good, bit in the back, couple of runs in it. So I want to fix it. That was my first attempt at doing something like that. And being absolutely honest, I was quite proud of myself that I got it delivered. Professionally, I was a little bit, not quite there where I wanted to be. But the look on that little girl's face when I handed her the violin, she was like, "Oh my God," and she didn't care. She really didn't. She had something that she really is going to treasure. And I'm going to get in there and fix it up a bit and finish it up. There's things that have got to be done on it. Now I didn't get the strings on it. I went to put them on and then I just couldn't work it out. It's stringing up a violin, unless you know what you're doing. So at the end, I just left all the strings and all the parts in the case. And I just said to Madeline, look, you're going to have to take this to a music shop and get them just to string it for you, because I don't want to muck it up. Being honest, there weren't strings on it when I got it. The pegs were in, but I don't know what order they were in. I just pulled them out. I didn't realise there was an order to them. They're all there. You just got to get someone that knows what they're doing. And I certainly didn't. So I left it. I thought, well, she can take it to the music shop and they can string it for her, or wherever she's going to go for the lessons, and they'll be able to string it. And that's where I left it. I just said, well, this thing's ready to rock. It can be played. Everything necessary to get it going's in the box. And she'll learn then how to string the violin, and she'll be able to do that. She'll be able to teach me. So the outcome was exactly what I'd hoped for. It's gone to somebody who's going to give it a lot of love and is going to play it for a lot of years to come. So that's it for the violin. We've finished it up. I'm not sure whether there's footage of me giving it to Talia or not, because I was pretty drunk. I'd had a few bourbons, this was our first Christmas without Mum, and these are the times when you think about your family and things come back to you, and but it was a good Christmas day, and the kids just ran riot as kids do, and there were water pistols, and there was, it's summer in our continent here. It's an Aussie Christmas, so there's always going to be some water pistols, and there were a couple of kiddies pools. There wasn't an actual big pool like there was last year, but there were kiddies pools set up, and water fights and water bombs, and it ended up being we got just as wet as if we were in a pool anyway. As long as they didn't put water in me bourbon, I didn't care. So it was a good day, and we got around the place, and we're 2 days on, and I just get to a point where, reflecting on the year, it's been an amazing year. There were some big setbacks this year, and it was still amazing. And seeing the look on that little girl's face after all that work, it was like, okay, that was worth it. That was worth everything. Now I can't show you that. She's a little girl, and you don't put things like that on YouTube. But do you know what I'm saying? This is the epilogue to it all. You saw the finished product and the violin. I fixed the case up. I ended up putting some silicone around that piece that wouldn't stay in, and it stayed. So I ended up, I said it was going to be white. The only silicone they had was white silicone on the day, and so it went up underneath the thing, and it was white, and you couldn't see it, and I didn't give a shit. I was over it. I just wanted it done. So it got siliconed in there, and it worked, and I was happy with that. And at the end of the day, the jobs that get finished are the jobs that you tick off and you move on. I've certainly ticked the job off, but I haven't moved on from it because I think one day I'll get that back, and I will sand that varnish back again, and I might organise a spray gun and spray it with a clear lac, you know, put a spray coat, because you can't get with the brush. You know, I'm not good enough to brush it with any kind of consistency. You need a proper hand, and I just don't have that for varnish. So what I'm going to do is I'll get it back, and we'll organise a spray gun, and we'll spray a coat of varnish over it, give it a nice even coat. That was the idea of the spray, you know, it was going to get sprayed. Anyway, that's it for Project Violin. I want to wish you all a very, very safe and prosperous new year. And I'll see you guys at the next video. I want you to make good decisions and do good things, and if you can't do it anyway. Keep swinging, and I'll see you at the next video. Happy New Year, everyone.